Let's talk about the Federal Direct Loan Program. The Federal Direct Loan Program is available to all students. Doesn't matter how much income or assets they have, all students who file a FAFSA form will be eligible for some form of federal direct loan. There's no credit check involved. All students are eligible. How do they apply? Through the FAFSA form. The free application for federal student aid determines how much eligibility a student has for federal aid. There are two kinds of federal direct loans: need-based subsidized loans, which means in effect that the federal government pays the interest for the student while they're in school and up to 6 months after they separate from that school. There's another program called the unsubsidized loan program, which means that the student has to pay the interest while they're in school, or they can allow that amount of interest that's accruing to be added to the loan amount at graduation, which means, though, that if they're not paying the interest in school, the amount that they signed for originally will be less than the amount that they will actually owe when they graduate. So it's a really important concept to understand this capitalized interest for unsubsidized loans. Students sign a master promissory note in order to access their capital, their loan amount, and they're required to do online entrance counseling so that they understand what it is that they're going to owe. That phrase, know before you owe. The online entrance counseling helps with that. And then the other side, when they're ready to separate from school, either through graduation or because they're leaving school early, they'll have to go through exit counseling, which will tell them how it is that they'll be able to repay that loan. The amount that a student borrows or can borrow under this program is determined by their year of study. First-year students can borrow up to $5,500. Second-year students can borrow up to $6,500. And third and fourth-year students can borrow up to $7,500 for each year of study. The interest rate on all federal direct loans is fixed, which means that the rate that's established at July 1 each year is good for all loans that are made through June 30th of the next year, basically that next academic year. The fixed rate then is terrific because it allows the student to know with certainty when they take the loan what the repayment amount, the monthly bill, will be once they graduate. So it's a really terrific opportunity for students to understand in advance how much this loan will cost them over time because it's a fixed rate. There's one issue with the federal direct loan, and that is the federal government charges an origination fee of 1.057%. And what that means is that the amount that the student receives from the federal government, means how much the school receives from the federal government to pay that student's bill, is reduced by 1.057%. That's $10.50 for every $1,000 that the student borrows. What that really means is for every $1,000 that they sign for, the school only receives $989.43. So it's a little bit of an issue with regard to the loan program, the federal loan program. The last thing that I'd like to talk about is just when the repayment actually begins. When do those interest and principal payments start? And that's pretty straightforward. It's 6 months after the student separates from school. They call it the grace period. The grace period is in effect from the time the student either graduates, one way to separate, or if they leave school for any other reason before they actually graduate. So that fee that was paid for the origination fee is in place. The fixed rate loan has been made, and 6 months after the student separates from school, the repayment period begins. For more information about the Federal Direct Loan Program, go to studentaid.gov.